with people with generosity and honesty. No matter what technique or practice you practice, you don't have to worry about technique. You just sit, watch your mind, your breath, watch the watcher a little bit. This vast blessing you'll know is always present. And if you don't live that way, actually, I know techniques, you try a million techniques, so this gives you a delusion of a quick fix, but none of them will really help you. So I said, no, I can't really put boxes with techniques, because I think my main interest is technique doesn't matter very much, but how you live matters. So they didn't want to publish the book. Then I had another literary agent in San Francisco who sent it to a few publishers, and a couple of them came back and said, well, we want to divide this into two books. One, a serious guide to Dharma, and the other more humorous and fun-filled, your personal story, the lingerie monk, because we're going to do that. And I said, but I don't know what's serious and what isn't, and maybe the stuff that seems tongue-in-cheek is most serious, and I like ambiguity. I really can't divide. Besides, I wrote this enough. I don't want to start re-editing. So they said, no, this book is too weird. So finally, that was enough. I had enough, and it's published, self-published, but actually it's doing pretty good. The distributors are all carrying it. It's in the second printing, and so we'll see what happens. But also, none of those reasons actually are the reason I wrote this book. The reason I wrote it is because I had an idea where I could sell 5 million copies. And again, this isn't for me my personal glory and fame or getting rich, but I think studying meditation is good for the world, because we got a big problem in America that many people think they can only be happy when the world gets destroyed. And probably our president even thinks that. So actually, of course, the world is getting destroyed very quickly. But we got a little bit, teach a more open-hearted, open-minded spirituality that heaven is right here and now, and you don't have to wait for the world to get destroyed to be happy. Actually, if you're right here and now, you will be very, very happy. You'll be in heaven. So I thought, if I could get 5 million people, all the people watching the Fox network, to read this book, they'd stop waiting for the world to get destroyed, and I had an idea how to do it. And has anyone here, besides my son, ever heard of Karl Barks? Oh, I did 50 signings across America. Only 4 people ever heard of Karl Barks. But I'm a Barksist. And Karl Barks is the person who drew Donald Duck comic books in the 40s and 50s. And one of the great American... In Europe, Karl Barks is one of the most famous Americans. Americans, no one ever heard of him. He's probably one of the greatest American artists and storytellers. And I've always been a fan, collector of those old comics. And I noted that many of the stories are dharmic allegories, and many of the pictures taken outside of the books are illustrations of all the themes of Dharma are in those pictures if you blow them up. So when I started having meditation, I made postcards out of them to send to announce when I would all-day meditations. And then about 10 years ago, when I retired from the lingerie business, I started thinking, what if I made a book and illustrated each chapter with a different picture? And I called that book Duck Dharma. And I thought, my God, that book will sell 5 million. All the people watching the Disney Channel will read that book. This will be fantastic. It'll sell 5 million and the world will get saved. So that's what really, I don't think I would have thought of sitting down and writing a book. Except, why bother? There are millions of books, except I thought of that idea to Duck Dharma, and I wrote the first manuscript and I sent it to Disney Company, and then I heard from them back that if I don't burn it immediately, they'll be suing me for everything I have. They weren't interested. So I gave up on that idea. But I only gave up because I had an even better idea, where I could sell not 5 million copies, but maybe 50 million copies. And I don't need it. And that's the back of the book. I'll see here, Memoirs of a Lingerie Monk. And of course, people look at probably it's the back of the book that maybe is selling it. And in the book, it's, again, I had different conversations with friends. Some, if I notice, there's a monk there holding a bra and panties on the back. And some of my friends said, and the monks on the front don't have that. We're listening to a parade out the bra and panties. So some of my friends said, well, no, that monk should be on the front cover of the book, and then you'll sell 50 million copies. Other friends said, no, don't put that monk at all. It demeans the book, because it's only actually a few chapters in the book where I tell about the lingerie Zen sect that I started, which is maybe in a Zen monastery, a spiritual awakening takes 20 years, but in a lingerie store, maybe 2 evenings. So it's accelerated enhanced meditation practice. But it's only a couple chapters and anecdotes around the book, so Some friends said, no, that means the book. Others said, no. So anyway, I compromised. I put on the back cover, and we'll see what happens. But what I have been doing is show this, because it's fun, because I can't publish it, showing a little bit of those pictures on the tour I did and the book signings I've done. For people who enjoy them, just to get an idea what might have been that no one will know except you, because it won't ever be. Except now it will be on the internet, and maybe I'll still get sued by Disney, so I'll show you a picture. But then I think this is because, okay, now, I did doctor it a little bit. This is all this picture. This is the book. So of course, I did in the don't worry. I did add that. But this is the truth. If you practice don't worryism, which is now, our worries are all about past and future. Actually, you're protected. You have like a shield of protection. And no matter what happens, actually you could accept it, and better things can start to happen. So this is practicing don't worryism. I have meditation, I call it the don't worry zendo. Now, well, this is the truth of all of our life, the karma. We're all up to our neck in our delusion of separation, time, space, us, others. But most of us in this state of ignorance, when we start to look inward and inquire the nature of awareness, we want to get up to our nose. We want to get even deeper. Everyone's trying to not deeper. So, get me, I want to make a pile deeper. But, too bad. Now, well, this is a chapter called Resistance. And no one wants to be in the present moment. Actually, at first that's boring, it's frightening, it's encountering all of our fears. Everyone will do everything they can to avoid it until you get a little bit the general idea that heaven is right here and now if you are really here. But really here is a radical step. That means quieting your mind, because your mind is about past and future. So first, we all resist in a million ways. So there's a chapter about resistance, that we, until you get the hang of it a little bit, that here and now is heaven. You don't like, no one wants to do it. Another chapter, resistance. I'll just read a couple more, then anyone who wants to can look through this later on.
Is this in the book?
What?
Is this in
No,
the
it's not in the book. No, not in the book. This is what started me writing the book. Well, this is, of course, there's a chapter, there's a picture of every chapter. And we're all thinkaholics. This is a big problem we all have. We're thinking addicts.
Name one chapter.
So we're all like, I think and I'll think. Times are tough, huh, bud? Well, this is all true of all of us until, at first, quieting your mind is frightening. It's a panic. It's like dying, letting go of control. But gradually you realize, in a little bit, you learn to do that. And first, with a little courage and endurance, right under the surface of that panic is their boredom is heaven. But it takes a little practice and despair, maybe. Anyway, so that's a few minutes, just the beginning. I'm not going to go through all that. You can all look through it later if you want to see. But there are a whole bunch of pictures that's what started me writing the book.
Very fun.
Yeah, it would have been great. And if the executive at Disney still calls me, I'll still put out a documentation. I'm great. Anyway, anytime, any questions yet? Otherwise, I'll read a few sections from the book. And then we'll do a few more songs. Any questions? Okay, you know what I wanted to read today? Since we're in the Casa de Hanuman, I want to read where I met Neem Kroli Baba. That's a little part of the book I mix. Try not to make it abstract. I think any spiritual writing I've ever liked kind of goes from abstract to concrete, real experience in my life or other people's life to abstract and concrete. So I tried to always bring this book down to how people live Dharma. Not just so. And part of the book, I have a little chapter where I tell my story, and that's a nice thing. After a lot of meditation groups, after sitting or something, someone will tell their story. So one chapter I call Short Spiritual Biography, and I go and tell how I found Zen and this and that, and my whole little life story, spiritual growth. And
is that the fellow whose photo is on the wall?
Yeah, Neem Kroli Baba. And this is Bruce and I are Dharma brothers, and other people. We have kirtans here and things, and most people who feel a little bit the Hanuman blessing energy. And we consider Neem Kroli Baba to have been an avatar of Hanuman. Okay. And so I'm going to read you a couple pages here about meeting Neem Kroli Baba. I like that part. And then, any more questions? I'll read some more, talk about the book more. We'll do a few more songs. And, Okay, so first I went to Japan. I lived in a Zen monastery. Then I ruined my knees there, actually. I came back and was soupy for a couple of years. But then when I first started, I always was much of a Hindu. I loved reading Ramana Maharshi and Ramakrishna, and also my Hindu. So that I was living, after I went to Japan, I was living in the Bay Area.